Well, you know, knowing you're triggered by your past is the first step toward change, because it's hard to change something you're not aware of. And once you know, you can start to watch how reactions to triggers show up in your life, and you can start to heal the hurts they're connected to. So asking you to reflect on what are the kinds of things that happen and then bother you all day. Many of you have already written this, but it's important that we're pausing together and being aware of this kind of thing, like what makes you suddenly angry or anxious, and what situations shut you down and make you feel like you want to withdraw from other people. I mean, it feels like they make you feel these ways, although I don't think outer circumstances cause our feelings, but it feels that way. What about blame, shame? What are the times when you do that? And how much of your life is taken up with either ruminating over triggered feelings or trying to distract yourself from those feelings? Yeah, it is amazing to think that we've carried this with us for so long, and it can change. It's never too late. Well, what I want to give you now is a powerful and simple 3-step practice that can help you move from getting triggered to beginning to heal the underlying hurts that made you sensitive to that trigger, all right? So I'm going to tell you about it first, and then we're going to give it a try together. So here are the steps. Number 1, pause. Number 2, acknowledge the present. And number 3, acknowledge the past. Okay, pause, acknowledge the present, acknowledge the past. Now, how does this work? Well, let's say you're on the phone with your friend. She's making all kinds of suggestions about what you should do with your life. And you're not really aware of being bothered by it, but your friend says, "What's wrong?" And you say, "Nothing, but I've got to go." And then 10 minutes after you hang up the phone, you're a third of the way into a box of cookies before you even realize it. So clearly you got triggered by something and fell into an automatic habit of numbing the feelings. All right, well, how would this look with our 3-step process? Let's go back to that phone call. Now, during the call with your friend, you would realize that something is off. You take a deep breath and pause. And in the pause, you notice a feeling of irritation, even though you're not sure why. And you realize you need to give yourself some space, so you say kindly to your friend, "Know what? Can I call you back?" And then once you're off the phone, you say to yourself, "Something in me feels irritated." And you wait. And maybe you also sense that your chest and throat are feeling constricted because you're turning toward how you feel right now. And you say, "Hello, I know you're there," to the feelings in your body. Acknowledge the present. And now you say to yourself, "Something in that phone call triggered a past pain for me. What was it?" "Oh, it was my friends suggesting what I might do, giving me lots of suggestions. Oh, I see. That reminded me of the way my mother used to tell me what to do, as if I had no right to make my own choices. Uh-huh, yes, this reminded me of that." And a deeper breath comes. Okay, so these small steps, pausing, acknowledging what's happening now, and then acknowledging how your past comes into it. These are powerful steps of emotional healing. So we're going to go through all of that again. So number 1, pausing means when you pause, you're moving out of your reactivity and into conscious awareness. You're intentionally slowing down, like pressing the pause button. And in the space that pausing creates, it becomes possible for you to notice what's going on in your feelings and thoughts, which is going to be step 2. Step 2 is acknowledging how you feel by saying, "Something in me." And this phrase has a very specific kind of helpfulness. When you say, "Something in me feels," you're acknowledging that you're more than just that feeling. So you could try it with me right now, that phrase, "I am irritated." I am annoyed, I'm upset, I'm angry, I'm anxious. Whatever, just pick a sentence, I am that has been true for you recently, and change it to something in me. Something in me feels or is. Can you feel the difference? I'm irritated. Something in me is irritated. You're not any less irritated, but you're also bigger than the irritated. Do you see? So that is one powerful way to acknowledge the present when you're feeling triggered, reactive, and it gives you some space where the feeling gets to be here. You're not pushing it away. You're not trying to numb it out, but you are there acknowledging it. Okay? So that's step 2. And then step 3 is about acknowledging the past. And if you were triggered, you can be sure your past was involved somehow. And often you don't know how. Sometimes you already know. But in our story, the person on the phone just felt irritated and didn't know that it was about the past. Got off the phone, paused to sense, and then realized, oh. And so the invitation is, I know this is bothering me more than it would. Is there something that's being triggered right now? Something about that, triggered, it seems like it triggered a past pain for me. And then pause and sense what that is. Yeah. Sometimes you can tell what it is. You don't even have to. Actually, this method works just by acknowledging. Just by acknowledging that something has triggered the past for me, even if I don't know yet what it is. All right? Now we're going to do that together as an exercise. All right? Now, you might want to stretch a moment. All right. So we're going to do these steps together. And we're going to stay very present moment, because I suspect that even listening to this webinar has brought up something in you, feelings, reactions. So we're going to take exactly what's here right now for you. And before we even get into that, into the feelings, let's pause. So pausing means I'm taking a moment. I'm taking a moment and allow yourself to feel your body present right now. Feel your body's contact on what you're sitting, standing, or lying on. Finding your feet. Finding your seat. Letting yourself rest on the support that's here for you. This is a nice way to pause, get grounded, gather yourself, and include in what you're aware of the inner area of your body. So you're aware in your throat, in your chest, stomach, belly area. And you're pausing to acknowledge the present. Taking time to turn toward yourself, toward your body sensations and your emotional states right now. Something has very likely been stirred up by what we've already been talking about. Just noticing what it is. And it's okay if it's hard to put into words. Don't worry about that. There's no need to put it into words. You can say this feeling and notice where you feel it. And then our language of acknowledging is something in me feels, if you've got a word, put the word in. anxious, heavy, scared. Or you can just say, something in me feels this way. Something in me feels some way, right? You know, it's not necessary to always name what we feel. It's not necessary to name it in order to acknowledge it. I think this is very powerful. Something in me feels this way. Notice what happens when you say something in me feels instead of I feel. I feel, something in me feels. Is there a difference? I'm leaving time because things take time. Okay, step 3. Something probably triggered my past. This feeling is probably connected to something in my past. This feeling is probably connected to something in my past getting touched on, and I'm acknowledging that right now. You might or might know what that is. Notice what difference it makes to acknowledge that the present feeling is probably related to the past, even if you don't know how. That is acknowledging. That is acknowledging the past. So we bring our awareness out to the space where we're talking to each other, thanking your body, thanking your process, and noticing what you want to remember. And I'll say again what they are. Number 1, pause. Number 2, acknowledge the present. And number 3, acknowledge the past. And I think you can feel that this is a beginning, like it makes a big difference already. And there will be more to come that has to do with actually healing those past experiences that, because we still carry them in us, they still give present events the power to trigger us more than they otherwise would. When we talk about painful experiences in the past not being healed or recovered from, impacting the present, we're really talking about trauma, aren't we? And trauma is a word with a lot of charge around it. But what I mean by that word is simply this, that because of something that happened that shouldn't have, or something that didn't happen that should have, a part of you is still frozen around the pain of the stoppage of life moving forward. That's my definition of trauma. Because of something happened that shouldn't have, or something that didn't happen that should have, and because there wasn't a recovery next, there was a stoppage. And it's not, this is what's brilliant. I love this. It's not what actually happened or didn't happen that causes trauma. It's that we didn't get what we needed next to recover from it. And that, the recovery, the healing, can still happen. It's never too late for that.